Hello and welcome. It is Thursday, September 14th, and we are gearing up for our biggest show event of the year. In 4 days, we'll be on the road to Chicago for the Chicago Toy Soldier Show.
It's the biggest show of the year. It's a real tiger of a show. Tiger, get it?
Roar.
Right in.
And I don't know if you can see, but Ray has come dressed for this tigerous
Getting geared up for the show.
occasion.
Well, who we got back there? We got little Theo behind us.
That's Theo.
Theo, you know, some people ask like if we deal in the carousel animals, and we get them occasionally. Theo is actually a store display that came out of a store in Pittsburgh. It's made of fiberglass so it can stay outside. It was probably made in the 60s or 70s, 1960s or 1970s, and it's one of our many lawn ornaments.
He's very neat, and as you can see, if you receive our email blast or you've seen any of our posts in the last 24 hours,
someone came riding into town triumphantly atop a tiger there.
I did. So that's little Theo. He's on our show today. And but as we stated, we're going to be on our way to Chicago in 4 days for the 37th annual Chicago Toy Soldier Show.
You know, I think I've done at least 30 of them.
That's a lot of shows. And it began in 1980. And really, if you love toy soldiers, this is the show for you. It has the widest representation of not only the toy soldier collecting hobby, but also we would say it's the busiest as far as vendors and collectors go. Everyone comes from all over the world to attend, and there are really soldiers for every taste and budget.
It's a show of shows. They come from all over. This is the one people save up all year for. It's the one that's worth traveling to. You know, they'll come from Australia, they'll come from Hong Kong, France, Italy, Germany. They come from everywhere. So it's a good one. If you want to go to the best show in the world, come to Chicago.
Yes, so we're very excited for obvious reasons. But every single show has been held in the Hyatt Regency in Schaumburg, which is about 40 minutes outside of the city of downtown Chicago, and except for the first two shows.
I wasn't there.
Ray wasn't there, and I frankly wasn't born yet, so.
I think 88 was the very first show I went to. You would have been one.
Aww. I could have been wandering around with my little toy soldier.
Yeah, you could.
But what this show is really known for, which begins 4 days before the actual show, which is next Sunday, is room trading. And room sales really began because vendors came to socialize early, and really they would make trades before the actual show and before customers really started to come, and it was so popular that it became an official part of the show.
It's one of my favorite things to do at a show because I feel it's really where you can meet the collectors, meet the dealers. What I love about it is you go to the hotel, people basically start setting up Thursday evening, the show is actually Sunday. You can wander around the hotel. If you see a door open at the hotel and there's soldiers inside, that's your invitation to go on in and talk soldiers. And what's really nice, Bree, is you can sit there, and that's where I can really sort of get to know my clients or get to know the other dealers, because it's very informal. You just sort of kick back, you know, hang out in the hotel room, and all day long talk soldiers, all week long.
Lots and lots of soldiers, thousands of them.
That's for sure.
So room trading is really neat, and I look at it as a retail shop that just opens up in the middle of a hotel. So it's cool, and it's all hours. There's early trading, there's late trading.
Yeah,
and
generally the rooms will sort of open around 9 a.m. and they'll go to 9, 10 p.m. It's all sort of potluck though. There's not really standard hours. And I'll tell you one thing from experience, Bree, I can sit in that room from 9 a.m. to 4 o'clock. I'll guarantee people come by and say, I came by your room, you weren't there. I was there. I know I was there.
I actually can attest to that, because in the last 4 years that I've been going, this will be my 5th year, there are definitely people that say that we're not in the room, but we are.
We're there.
So,
we're working.
Definitely reach out to us if you walk past and you miss us, because we are somewhere in the Hyatt.
That's for sure.
We're stationed there for the next week. And we would like to thank in advance the staff that works tirelessly all year round, not just the week of the show, but prepping for the show, advertising for the show, doing everything they possibly can to make this the best toy soldier show in the world. Roger, Jan, Graham, Jillian, Garfield, as well as Judy Mitchell, and everyone else involved that makes this show such a top-notch show. Thank you.
It's very well run. Yeah, it really is.
It is. It's very well organized, and it's well worth it. So if you haven't been to Chicago, you definitely should come. And Ray and I will be in room 4315. So everything we are showing you today on the show is available for purchase in our room. However, items will be sold on a first come, first served basis. And the moment this broadcast is over, if you would like anything, we have about 15 items to show today. You can call us at 412-343-8733. Or you may also email us at raytoys, RAYTOYS, @AOL.com. So, like I said, first come, first serve, starting as soon as this broadcast concludes.
Like we like to say, if you snooze, you lose.
And with all that being said, here we go. All
right, we got a lot of great things.
We do.
And since we're in a beautiful garden back here with Theo guarding over it, we're going to start with a little Britain's garden.
We are. This is a Britain's garden, and as you can see, there are a bunch of pieces in this garden. Each one of them you can place individually. There are little holes in the bottom of this, and it comes with its original box that says miniature gardening on it. And what's really neat about this one is Britain's only produced flowers and beds pre-war. So this is from the late 1920s, and they're usually bigger than this. So
these are the smaller beds.
Bed.
So that's just a small bed. They made a whole series. MG was what the series was called. I think this is MG9 or something like that. And it's interesting because they were very good sellers, but very time intensive. When you look at it, even for you to set them up, you see it takes a long time. So they generally faded these out right after the war. They didn't produce any of their lead figure or flowers. They did produce some garden figures, and they still had what they called a garden line. But it really wasn't until the 60s where they sort of came out with a plastic garden that they reintroduced these type of flower beds with plastic flowers, replacing the lead ones. Beautiful. They're great for all types of displays. You know, you can use them in any kind of situation. So we sell quite a few of these garden sets.
You know what my favorite part about this garden is, Ray?
What's that?
That I can't kill these flowers.
You don't have to water it? Look, it looks perfect. You saying you have a black thumb? Maybe.
So this is set
MG15.
Yes, MG15. It says all components in this box and many others can be purchased separately. And the box really has beautiful detailing on it as well, as you can see on the side. I'll hold it up a little bit closer for you so you can see that. And it's our miniature gardening set. Next.
All right, we're going to be going to the fox hunt.
Yes,
this is country here.
A fox hunt tag figure.
You know, we haven't had any of these in a long time. Sort of back in the late 90s, they were sort of very popular. There's a number of articles we've done in Old Toy Soldier about them. And if you can show that tag to him, Bree. Okay, we call this a tag figure.
This tag right here is what he's talking about.
Okay, that's what's known as an export tag. And right after World War II, England was trying to raise as much hard currency as they possibly could. And some of the bureaucrats put in this law that everything that was made in England had to be marked made in England. And when they exported it, you actually had to remove this tag on there. And they were supposed to collect that and then pay tax on that. So the VAT collectors at that time would have taken that off the figure. Now they exported hundreds of thousands of figures. So how'd you like to be the poor tax collector that has to go through every box and take those tags off? It didn't work very well, but they are very rare because they did make them, and the ones for export, that tag was broken off. Even like if a kid would get them, they would break the tag off. So they are very rare to find them with the tags on.
I've personally never seen one.
They were very in vogue, or not in vogue, but there were a lot on the market, again, in the late 90s. But I haven't had one in a long time.
So have you ever seen an entire set with every tag on it?
I have actually seen a set where it's sort of a B grade military set, but generally where you'll see them on are civilian items. That's for some reason, I think that was, you know, again, after World War II, war wasn't so glamorous anymore. So they sort of put a lot of emphasis into their civilian lines, and they were a much more peaceful endeavor.
Very interesting. So, are they highly collectible with this?
Well, yeah, I mean,
or
like,
do guys not really?
Well, no, like that figure, which is a fairly common figure without the tag on it, you know, I would say is of a $25 figure. With the tag, it's about a $150 figure. So, yes, it's collectible.
Okay, so that is our fox hunt tag figure. As you can see. Now we're going to switch gears. I really love this little set. This is an Elastilin Red Riding Hood set. Or actually, excuse me, this is the lineal version of it, but there is...
No, that's the last one.
This is the last one, but there also is a lineal version of it.
That's the Elastilin version. That's a two-piece set.
They're composition figures.
Which is basically sawdust pressed with glue in a mold, and there's a wire frame in there. And everyone loves the story of Red Riding Hood, don't they?
I know, they really do.
Very old fable.
It really is. And we were doing a little bit of research about Red Riding Hood in celebration of this set. And we learned that there are over 50 versions of the Red Riding Hood story. It really began in Europe years ago, and it migrated to a French version. Well, the original version... I should start with that. In the original version, the grandmother, which I must note, she doesn't come with this original set, but she is eaten by the wolf, and then Red Riding Hood is eaten by the wolf, and then he falls asleep.
The wolf falls asleep.
Yes, the wolf falls asleep. In the French version of this fairy tale, there is a hunter that arrives and saves Red Riding Hood and the grandmother.
How does he save him?
He slashes the wolf's belly open.
Ew.
I know, it's not the prettiest of stories. And then there's also an Italian version of the story, and it migrated towards the Chinese version of the story, which actually includes a tiger. So it all involves a tiger.
Get rid of the wolf and put a tiger in.
Yes. So there's various versions, which we really didn't know. And that's why when we originally had this, we were a little confused as to why it was pictured like this, but there was a hunter involved and also the grandmother. So, little Red Riding Hood trivia. But the most popular story really that's told today is by the Brothers Grimm, which was written about 200 years ago. So, it's still an old version of the story, but it's nowhere near as old as the original way back stories.
The early story. So we have composition here. We have a fantastic composition collection that we're going to debut at the show. So I barely looked at it. We bought it this summer.
It's
just
out of Pittsburgh.
Out of Pittsburgh, and we're basically bringing it to the show. Again, first come, first serve.
Fresh goods. So
but one of the things that's in there, there's some beautiful American Revolutionary figures. There's George Washington with his tricorn hat.
George Washington.
Revolutionary infantry with flag. Great Americana there. Those figures come with marching figures that actually have lead rifles.
Very nice. Okay, I'm going to set this back down here. These are just beautiful figures. As you can see, they're in great condition. And there are 15 total in the set.
Yeah, and then, well, this is a separate set here. This is actually called the Spirit of 76.
Little drummer.
Yeah, little drummer boy.
Flute.
So just some great Americana, you know. Elastilin made a lot of really neat, interesting figures, and you know, their American Revolutionary series is really one of my favorites.
Yes. So, very nice Americana.
Yep.
If you're looking for that set.
We'll have lots of figures at the show.
We do.
All right.
Thousands.
Now, also, one of the things that came in the collection, we got some great motorcycles.
Yes.
Yeah, these are Elastilin and lineal motorcycles. This one's Elastilin with the sidecar. And you show it has tin wheels, Brie.
Yes.
And then what's very important is it has the original Perplex windshield on the side there. That very often is broken off. And then another version, this one's rare because
this one's cool.
That has clockwork. So that has a little clockwork mechanism in there. Sidecar carrying a Maxim machine gun. It also has a shovel and a pick in there. So it has all the accessories with it, with the fact that it has a clockwork mechanism. it's not the rarest of all the motorcycles, but it's one of the most desirable.
It's really neat, and it actually does work. We don't have a table in front of us to show you that it works, but it does. So, very nice composition. It will be there with the plethora of items that we have.
Well, this is one of the showstoppers here.
This is neat. This is
It's
our
a lineal
ambulance. And I really love this lineal tag on the side. I think that it is special to this ambulance. I have not seen another one. This is the first one that I've actually seen in person.
Beautiful, beautiful condition. Again, with the original lineal tag, has the Red Cross emblems on the side.
And it has a bunch of accoutrements on the inside.
Sandbag, wounded inside. One of the things that's very important, and one of the things that really breaks on this, the windows on this are actually made of celluloid, which is like a very early plastic. And it's really easy, especially if you pick it up from the top, to sort of put your fingers through it and push those in. These are all intact. They're all original. Again, clockwork, has working headlights up front. Both Lineal and Hauser made a version of this ambulance that are very similar. The Lineal is rare. Lineal and Hauser went into business about the same time, but then Hauser actually bought Lineal at one point. And one of the easiest way is you look at the front of the radiator there and it says Lineal on it. But the Lineal ambulance, the whole hood is much more slender. I think the Lineal one is much sleeker, has a much better design. Although for a layman, if you sort of put them side by side, they're hard to tell apart. But the Lineal one is a little bit more refined. Very rare piece, one of the more desirable of all the tin plate vehicles. Lineal and Lastlin or Hauser, they made probably 40 or 50 different vehicles that you could get. But this is just a great, great example.
It really
Near
is.
mint. So this shouldn't last long at the show.
If you're looking for a medical ambulance, that one is yours.
Now this one just came in and I haven't got to research. I know it's very rare and I'm pretty sure it's made by Hauser, but I'm not 100% sure. I couldn't find it in any of my catalogs this morning.
We've got the crashing plane.
Now what's so interesting about this, okay, Hauser made a lot of sort of backdrops. They made like burning farmhouses, they made windmills, they made a whole line for their Western set. But this is a crashing RAF plane going down in flames. So it wasn't made for export. It was made just for the German populace. Really sort of very graphic. If you look at the flames and the detail and sort of how the wing is shot through, there's actually a hole through the wing where it was probably hit by flak. Very rare. Not many of these survive. Beautiful condition.
Yes, there's so much detail on this. I love it. I think it's a really neat piece.
So again, another one of the highlights out of this collection that we got.
And it did come by itself. I was interested if there was a pilot or any passengers, but it was a standalone.
Nope, just like that. And generally they would use them as sort of as a backdrop, and I don't have, well, you can put like one of the motorcycles in front of it. So these generally collectors will sort of put on the side, but then you have like the motorcycle rushing toward it, try to capture the pilot.
Yes.
A lot of fun.
Fun composition.
So
okay.
now one of the rare things that was in the collection.
This
so
is
I haven't
very
had in a
cool.
long time.
Very, very cool.
Okay, this is known as the tank trap. Okay, there's the tank trap. Now it's loaded, so just be very careful with that. It's just a round disc, looks like nothing. But this is when kids really knew how to play.
Okay, this is.
So
I'm a little
just
scared.
To demonstrate. I hope no
Just
one's
gonna
going to
say.
poke their eye out.
Okay.
But picture.
So Ray would like a golf cart, so I'm just going to
Picture
add a little
me
back.
in the yard.
This is
riding
Ray.
along, do, and I'm like, just sit on top of the mound, and then Bree's a little terrorist. She's over on the side. But she, wait. Wasn't quite as dramatic as I thought, but the little U.S. Army golf cart just went for a little ride.
Okay, so if that golf cart, it's not that heavy, but if that golf cart was not on top of this little piece, this would have went flying 4 feet in
It
the
goes
air.
high there. Wait,
Believe me, we've tested it.
Well, you holding that? Hold the tray.
Okay.
We gotta do this again.
Oh, Ray's gonna show you again. Okay, but
So
if
this
you
folds
saw how it
forward.
did push that golf cart up in the air, I mean, I really don't know how children played with this.
Let's pull that. Watch your eyes. Don't want anyone to get hurt. That will do without the golf cart. You ready? Ooh.
So
That's the tank trap.
that is the tank trap.
That's when toys are really toys. That's what I like.
That's pretty scary, but I love that. I think it's very, very rare and unique I've never seen one, as scared as I am of it, only when you're actually pulling it off of there, but it's neat.
All right, so that's our little preview of our composition. But of course, I'm known for Britons, we're known for Britons. We're going to be bringing a lot of great Britons to the show. Some really minty ones no one's ever seen.
We like these three because...
Okay, so what I have here...
There are three versions of this set, and they're all Lancers. We have the 5th, the 9th, and the 16th version.
So that's the 5th Royal Lancers.
All in original boxes. And I need to be careful.
These are all first version, too. Partition box.
Yes, partition box.
I'll let Bree show that to you.
So I'm going to flip this forwards.
Okay, those are the Irish. So they have a green plume. They're wearing blue tunics. They have red pastrons, which is like the breastplate that goes across the tunic. Blue pants with a yellow piping on it. These sets are known as cross-legged. So let me show one here, Bree.
Okay, and then this is the box top to this one. And I love the label on this too. I think it is amazing. It's green and white. Very Irish.
And then show them this figure, Bree. Okay, these are first version. So they made this set from 1894 to 1903. If you look at the back legs sort of look like they're crossed. So we call this cross-legged, and all first version. Very important on these, on their lances, they don't have a movable arm, it's a fixed arm. And then what I always look for on this set are the lance tips. The way they were packaged, the tips almost always break off. So really when you're looking for the best of the best, you'd like all the lance tips to be there, which this one is, but that's rare. Usually they're missing one or two of the lance tips. Okay.
Yeah, so that's a beautiful set. Beautiful.
And then this is a classic Britain's figure there. Okay, that's their officer for the Irish Lancers. We go officer turned in saddle. And I believe in 1900, Richard Simpkins, who's a famous printmaker, he pictured a Lancer turned in the saddle, and that was the inspiration for this figure. And they used this figure for a long time, from 1894 up until post-war. It actually has a tin sword cast into it. So this was actually a separate piece they would add to the casting. Then they would pour the metal in. So it would have a tin sword. Very often the sword will get bent down or broken off. This one's all original again. And they always kept the tin sword for this one, which is sort of unusual because usually Britons would change. So, okay, this is the 5th.
Very neat.
So
okay,
that's
yeah,
set
so those
number,
were the 5th.
That's set number 23, I believe. Oh, watch his little leg back there.
Yes.
Okay, and then, and I just wanted to show these because it's so unusual to have all these at once. Okay. And then these are the 16th. Again, first version, cross-legged. The only real difference on these is the plume is black and white instead of green. So these are the Queen's Royal Lancers, or the 16th Queen's Royal Lancers. Excuse me, not the 16th. The 9th. Those are the 9th.
9th.
Those are the 9th Queen Royal Lancers.
All original box again, partitioned.
So I really think these are the only 3 of the Lancer sets that you can get in sort of true first version pre-1900.
Beautiful label.
And then the final one here. And now these are in red tunics. So they have red tunics and I believe a blue plume. And these are the 16th Lancers. I got ahead of myself there.
Okay.
All the same, just sort of painted a little differently.
Trying to make sure these are all set up
nice and neat.
neatly. Okay, so this is also partition box. This one figure that you see has a tag on it. These were from a previous Bonham's auction, so that's where their provenance. And it's also, like we said, an original partition box. So all 3 of these sets are just, they look beautiful together. All the labels are different colors. There's a lot of detail. Just beautiful, beautiful condition for how early they are.
So some of the highlights, and you know, the first version, Britons, and yeah, show me grab the book right there, Bree.
Sure.
Right there. I would just because I was sort of researching some of these sets, and we talked about this last show, but Joe Wallace came out with this, and we mentioned it before, but this was sort of the first time I really got to use this book. It's terrific, Joe. The information and detail research that you've done on these early sets is unsurpassed. It basically answers any question you want. And really, if you spend a lot of time with this, you can pin a lot of these early sets down to maybe a 4 or 5 year time frame, depending on how the figures are actually presented in the box, what versions they are. Very precise, just great information.
It is, and the images are beautiful too. It's just everything about it is very nice.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, now staying in the Britain's theme. These are super rare.
More Britons. I've never seen a set like this. These are Soldiers on Parade. It is a stand-up box set. So they were actually packaged and sold like this. I need to take this off to show you, but
ta-da! Look at that.
Look at that. And we've sold you, it reminds me of the Soldiers That Shoot, kind of how it's looking on the camera, but it's really, really neat. And you can see how I'm going to angle it just slightly because I don't want to flip them forwards, but there are little slots in the card that you can slide them in to stand them up.
Now, what's so unusual about this breed? Okay, I actually found this set about 8 years ago. I sold it to a client, and he's selling it again. Britain's made a Parade series because they were sort of, I think, trying to go after like the wargaming group. They wanted figures that you could sort of move out and move them in a regiment without sort of having to move each individual figure. Sort of like if you were doing like a wargaming thing. So they came out with this series in 1936 called the Parade series, Soldiers on Parade. Or it's called the Soldiers on Parade, but we call it Parade series. And those are in the 400 numbers in the Britain's numbering system. So they started around 436, I believe. They made a small number. And then I guess it was moderately successful because then they had another series in the 470s, 470 numbers. But they only produced them for those 3 years. Okay, now what's so unusual about this is actually an A series. So these are second grade figures. You'll see that in regular Britons, but this is marked set number 233A. Okay, and it's U.S. infantry doughboys. And the doughboys are very common, but this officer on there's two of them in here. Okay, this officer on this rear base, this is a very rare figure, very difficult to find in the A grade. And then this is basically a combination of two sets. So it's a double row, which in the regular Parade series, they're essentially all single row. They're 8-9 pieces. So this is just a real oddity.
So it's a double set.
That, essentially no one in the world has, and I think will not last very long at the show.
So you think this is the only one?
The only one I've ever seen. It's in mint condition. It's very unusual. All the Parade series sets are very, very rare. I mean, out of the thousands of sets that we've had, I've probably only had 4 or 5 of them, maybe 6 or 7, I guess. But it's something that you don't see very often.
That's neat. And there's a little script here in the bottom right corner that starts off by saying the baseboard provides a unique method of displaying the soldier's formation.
That it does.
It really does, and it's neat. So I love this set. I think it's charming. And
I like the way they display. So
I love the display, but I really love the green tie card because you usually don't see green tie cards. For the Britons, they're usually a tan color.
That's
so
true.
I really think that that's cool. That's what I like about it.
I've never seen a tie card at all. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And then we got a nice big display here.
Okay, this set is beautiful. We're sticking with Britons. This is set 102.
There's 102.
Hand this back to Ray. He's got the master cart over there to our right side. This is all original. It is a tied in the box set. It is very minty, or sexy as Ray would call it. And it's just a really beautiful set.
Okay, now this is an interesting set. They made it for a little while, and this version I put from the late 30s, or actually more mid 30s. The story goes, in 1900, the Irish Guard units were formed, and Britons wanted to commemorate all the Guard units of the British Army: Coldstream, Scots, Irish, and Grenadier. And this represents all 4 of those units there. All of the figures in here are fairly rare. You don't see them too often. It does have here an Irish officer on the white horse with an outstretched sword. The only other place you can get that is set 93.
Okay.
And then this is actually down here. This is the only version of the Coldstreams at present that was made pre-war. They actually introduced the Coldstream at Present set 2082 for the Queen's coronation in '53, which was post-war. But this is the only way to get it in a pre-war set. It has an unfurled flag. In 1938, you will see, I've seen one example of this set that has a furled flag. The flag's all rolled up. But I like the unfurled one.
It is very
beautiful condition.
It's beautiful.
The condition's outstanding on this set.
There's a drummer. I mean, all the paint, like we're saying, it's a minty set. It is beautiful.
That's a good one.
Very nice.
That's another one.
So that's our Britain's set 102.
Set 102.
If you're missing 102 from your collection.
You can fill in a hole. All right, so that's sort of just a tip of our Britons. We will have probably 200 sets of Britons.
We have
I guess.
a bunch of Britons, and those are all available for sale. I know that we do a lot of broadcasts that we are showing items that are featured for an auction, but everything that we're selling and bringing to Chicago is not in an auction. It's retail sale. So you can purchase anything at any time. We will have our auction catalogs available to take a look through, and we do have a very big Britain sale coming up. But we mid-October. But we also have a plethora of them to display here in Chicago. So definitely be on the lookout for those.
All right. So now something different. We're moving to American figures.
This is a Warren set.
And what's so interesting? Oh no! Hold on.
We have these heads on this set actually slide out, which is common.
Yeah, very common. It's like a Heidi. The head was a separate casting. Now Warren figures in general are extremely rare. Okay, this is an original box. If you look at the end there, it's a Warren box. Okay. And Warren is probably the most desirable of all the American toy soldier manufacturers. For one reason, it was the only manufacturer that produced a Britons-like figure. All the other manufacturers sort of gravitated toward the dime store scale, but Warren liked to produce in this 54mm scale. He only produced for, I think, 3 years, 1936 to 1939.
Was there a reason for that?
Just they didn't sell enough to really make it viable. War happened, it was hard to get materials, so there was a number of reasons. But one of the interesting things that I found out about Warren is that his father actually worked for a small company in central Pennsylvania that made the molds for Hershey chocolate. And because of that, he sort of had mold making. This was his son. He sort of had mold making experience.
So you're telling me that these figures are chocolate?
I think you'd probably like them more than lead if they were chocolate. But those are lead figures. But that's, I think, sort of what got him into. He knew how to basically make a mold and cast something because he was casting chocolate bars.
He was practicing on chocolate bars.
I think you'd rather practice on chocolate bars.
Before these.
But yeah, very rare set of U.S. infantry marching with an officer tied in the original box still.
I just wanted to show, too, what we were doing earlier so that you're not confused by what we're doing. But as Ray said, when he said that these heads are separate casting, they actually lift right off of the body, as you can see, and they slide right back in. So that's what we were doing just earlier, just so that you knew what we were talking about.
So we do have American figures, and then we also sort of cover all the nationalities. We have some nice little French figures over here.
We do.
I don't have much in the way of dime stores, but some this year.
These are dime stores,
but these are French. We call these French dime stores.
They were made by a company called Monk, correct?
George Monk.
George Monk.
French, right before the war, a little larger scale, but very graphic, There's a little cowboy with pistols in there.
I love the size of the dime stores, too. They're very hardy figures.
Yeah, they just show up very well. So this is sort of an aside, but we were going through our inventory, and you don't see these too often, so I figured people might like to
little cowboy and Indian action. So those are our dime stores, and I believe that we did bring a couple others.
Yeah, we do. We try to represent all fields, and we do have some nice Mignot sets with us. So we have the French fairly well represented. So we'll cover all the nations.
Covering it. All right. Speaking of covering all the nations, we're moving back to Germany, and we are going to talk about this little itty bitty.
It's their favorite.
Calling it itty bitty 10mm Heidi jazz band.
This is Heidi, so this is lead. You know, sometimes you'll see this type
These
of thing
little
in
guys,
shops.
my fingers, they're so small, my fingers are going to cover them. Look how, okay, let me see if I can get it. Look how adorable. I can't even get him close enough. He's so small. He has cymbals.
It's a whole band.
Okay, so we have that guy. There are 6 pieces.
There's the conductor.
Here's the conductor. I mean, this is just such a charming little set. I love it.
There's a little drum player. I mean, now these are talking small figures here.
I mean, they're making my hands look gigantic. My hands are not.
You got huge hands. They're huge.
Now that I'm looking at the camera, my hands are not that big. Okay.
But really,
that's a drummer.
Cute little set. I've really never seen Heidi in this scale, but these are definitely lead. They're definitely Heidi. Sometimes you will see something similar, but they'll be made out of bronze, and they're Viennese bronze, which is really a different field. Soldier guys, they want it to be made out of lead. They want it to be like a toy soldier. So the bronzes don't really attract.
He's playing the bass.
Yeah. So it's a cute set, but you have to have good vision to see it.
You do. I know. I'm testing vision over here. Okay, so that's our little jazz band.
You have your band. Let me show you my band here.
Little contrast here.
Bree likes that little.
This is also a Heidi.
This is
Heidi.
That's my kind of band. That's an 80 millimeter.
Beautiful. Beautiful. It sings a song which we will play for you, and actually, it says on here the Palace Polka.
Palace Polka.
And the Russian national hymn.
I thought it was playing God Saves the Queen.
Well, and
which is My Country Tis
we thought it was back, if you've seen our previous broadcast, God Saves the Queen and My Country Tis of Thee. That's what it sounds like, but Ray's gonna play it here now for you.
Let's play. We'll be quiet. I might have to hold it while it plays. I don't like those. See, these all have like a big spring mechanism in them, and you can get them to, really wind up, but you do run the risk of popping the spring. So I will put the key in and then just sort of use light pressure to play. Maybe that is a different song.
It is a different song. We just listened to this earlier, and I thought that it was.
Well, maybe it plays 2 songs. No,
it does have 2 songs.
What's so interesting about this is we've had large scale. So this is large scale. These are the band figures. I believe there's 8 or 10 of them, and they actually have.
We got the French horn and the cymbals.
And then these have like an elaborate music stand.
Yeah, it is very elaborate, and I love the scale. I mean, the piece.
Well, what makes it so rare is this piece. Generally, the guardsman will be standing in like a we call a bandstand. So it looks like just a traditional bandstand with a little railing. It's gray with red stripe. But this is on a grassy knoll with the tree. There's a couple of these out there, but extremely, extremely rare. Really one of the top-notch pieces that's going to be at the show. The scale, that 80 millimeter seems to be some of the collectors' favorite. I mean, they like the huge figures, but these still look like toy soldiers.
They do.
So it's one of the most aesthetically pleasing of all the scales.
It is, and there's a lot of detail on here. This actually says 1837 to 1897 on this little stand. And it has a heraldry kind of. Yeah,
I mean, I would think this set was probably made around 1905, sort of in that range. It's early. I don't know if it's pre-1900 though, but just a gorgeous set. So that's one of our highlights.
You're not gonna believe it.
We went through a lot of stuff there, Bree.
We just flew through everything that we had just at the table, but we have so much more that we're bringing to Chicago. This is just a little itty bitty preview of what we have. And like we said, we have soldiers for all budgets. So these are some of our higher items, I would say.
Well, no, they go all across the board, really.
Yeah. They are, but
Yeah,
we have some really rare ones that we showed to you today. But in our room in general, we have a lot to show, and we're excited to debut it. So, and like we said, anything that you've seen here today is first come, first serve. So it's all available for retail purchase starting right at the end of this broadcast as soon as we read a couple announcements here in 5 minutes. So you can give us a call at 412-343-8733. You may send us an email at raytoys, RAYTOYS @AOL.com, and we can answer any additional questions that you have about what we're bringing or what we showed today. And our next official broadcast is going to be October 5th for our RSL Fall Toy Bank Auction, Toy and Bank Auction, and that is online now, and we will have a live auction in Lebanon, New Jersey for that, and we'll be broadcasting from the gallery, and we just mailed catalogs.
Their catalog.
Yesterday, so
Everyone for RSL, you should be getting them tomorrow, probably.
You should be getting them if you haven't received them yet.
Tomorrow, Saturday, or Monday at the latest.
This is October 7th. You can jump on liveauctioneers.com and search RSL auctions, and you're able to register to bid and take a look at all of these items in this catalog right now. And our next Old Toy Soldier auctions, plural, because it's pretty much, we have 2 auctions. The first 2 we're calling a morning session and an afternoon session on October 14th. The first session begins with the IB Melchior collection of early flats.
Yeah, this is a really exciting
This is the proof of the catalog cover, which will be printing as we speak.
Yeah, we get them tomorrow.
We get them tomorrow, so we will have an official copy tomorrow, but this was the printer's proof. And like I said, this has early 17th century flats. It is one of the most beautiful, unique catalogs that Old Toy Soldier Auctions has ever done.
It's really exciting.
We took the original scrapbook from this collection, which they were very, very meticulous with documenting everything and all the provenance that went with the Melchior collection. So there are pages intertwined in our photographs of the lots for sale that were from the original scrapbook. So it's very, very cool. It is on our website. It will be soon, but it's on liveauctioneers.com. You can search Old Toy Soldier Auctions, and you may register to bid for this sale currently.
So that's going to start at 10 a.m.
This is at 10 a.m. And then following that, we have a noon part 2 session of the auction, which is our investment rarities, the Bill Jackie collection, part 2. So exciting. If you're a Britain's collector, these are world-class sets. It's a beautiful catalog, and it is laid out a little bit differently than our typical catalogs as well. So as you can see, the photos are bigger, and there's a lot to see in there. We are going to be mailing these within the next week, so you can also place an order for your hard copy of the Melchior and the Investment Rarities catalog on oldtoysoldierauctions.com. So there's still time. So you can email or call us at the numbers that I spoke of earlier.
And this is mainly Britain, so we have great early Britons, mainly pre-war. But we do have some fantastic Courtneys in there, some wonderful Vertuni, and a handful of Greenwood and Ball figures too for the connoisseur collectors.
We do. So very exciting auctions, and a bonus, an additional day of soldiers has just been added today. There are over 500 lots on Live Auctioneers, and that will begin at 10 a.m. on October 15th.
It's on Sunday, the day
on
after.
Sunday. It's online only, and there are various manufacturers represented. I believe there are over 15 manufacturers, and once again, there are soldiers in there for every budget. So
yeah, and that's sort of, on the Saturday we have Britons, very high end. We have like flats, very high end. So really we wanted to add a sale for pretty much every collector. So a lot of great Mignot, Imperial, Blenheim, Marlborough, new Britons are in there. So again, the Sunday session, very affordable, something for everyone.
It really is. And so, like I said, all of those catalogs are online now. You can purchase them. There are some in the mail as we speak, so look forward to all of those. And our broadcast featuring all 3 of those sales will be on Thursday, October 12th at 7 p.m. So we will be featuring things from those. And our next Cyber Toy auction, which is our online auction.
Busy time of year coming up.
It is November 19th. I'm just looking down to make sure I have all my dates straight over here. Sunday, November 19th, we're doing a Sunday toy and bank sale. So once again, that'll be on Live Auctioneers. You can search Cyber Toy Auctions. That is not yet online, but it will be within the coming weeks. So stay tuned for that. And very, very exciting.
Someone I haven't seen her so excited since last year.
So last year, if you were at the Chicago show, you would know that we gave out hats and pens that said Old Toy Soldier as a promo. But this year, we are officially announcing, drum roll,
very excited,
fanny packs. I know everyone can't wait to get their Old Toy Soldier official fanny pack.
Bring back the 80s.
Okay, 80s are back.
What do you have in yours?
Okay, there's a pocket in the front. Well,
we have a couple pockets.
Okay, there's pockets in the middle. All right, I'm just gonna put this on right now. I'm gonna show you. Well, actually, I'll put my soldier in it first. I'm gonna use one of these little dime stores. So as you're walking around the show, you can put your little soldiers in there. Or I guess, you know, if you're Ray, we all know what Ray is going to put in his fanny pack.
Look, I got money in my fanny pack. Look at
that. Money.
That's what you keep in a fanny pack.
Put
but
this
I'll
on.
tell
Look
you,
at this.
You're coming to Chicago, 2 most important things. Soldiers and money. You'll be set. You'll have a great time, guaranteed.
Actually, it also, you could fit your cell phone in here, which ours are not near us. And
what I do like too on these actually, Bree, is there's actually a little pocket in back too. So you can put your passport in there. You can put your real money back there.
You can put all kinds of things in there. So, these fanny packs, we are doing a special promotion that if you share this video right now, or actually it doesn't have to be right this second, but if you share this Facebook video on your timeline and you visit us in our hotel room 4315 when we are open for business anytime next week, or you can stop by our Old Toy Soldier booth on Sunday, you will receive, and you show us your shared post on your timeline, you will receive a free fanny pack.
Free fanny pack.
So if you'd like a free fanny pack, please share this post right now.
We're gonna be all geared up.
And there also, if you would like to purchase one and you can't make it to the Chicago show, you can purchase one on our Facebook right now as well. So at the conclusion of the show, fanny packs are available. They're $10. So you can put in your address, you can pay with your credit card, and they'll ship right to your home. So if you'd like one now, you can certainly order yours, have it shipped to your house, and you can bring it to Chicago with you. You would rather do that. So that was everything that we had today.
That was a good long show. I think we went over a lot of stuff, Bree.
We did. We went over a lot of things.
That doesn't excite you about toy soldiers. I don't know what will.
So we're excited to get on the road to Chicago, but first I feel like we have to take off our fancy hats.
Off with the fancy?
Off with our, wow, my hair, I just pulled my hair aside. And put on our soldier caps.
It's soldier hat time.
Because it's soldier time.
Now we're ready to go.
And we can't wait to see everybody in Chicago.
Bye, everyone. See you soon.